freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your moving day recap for this week's Sentry. Joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Hello, Rick. Good to be here with you again, especially for moving day, which was interesting today. A little bit different golf course the players were facing out there today, which I think had a pretty big effect on things.
Yeah, 3 shots more difficult. Still played 2.5 shots under par, but 3 shots more difficult on Saturday than this golf course was on Friday, thanks to finally some wind around the Plantation course. And it kind of shook up this leaderboard, Greg. I mean, there are a lot of guys in the mix. It was not a runaway Saturday by Scottie Scheffler, our 36-hole leader. There's kind of a lot to break down here.
Yes, it changed dramatically, which, look, this is the thing about wind on this golf course. The golf course is built for it. So you can still go out and shoot some really low scores. That's why you see at the top of the leaderboard rounds of 64 to 67 all over the place. You see a lot of 66s and 65s. These are really good scores. The golf course allows for it. But if you're a little bit off your game, those birdies become a lot less automatic. Some of the shots become a lot more difficult, and it allows for a little more separation on the leaderboard, which we saw today.
Well, let's talk about the round of the day. Actually, before we talk about the round of the day, let's talk about the one ask that I have of you. Go and vote the First Cut for best golf podcast of the year. The link is in the description. It takes like 30 seconds. They ask you for your name. They ask you how many podcasts you listen to, and they ask you who you're voting for. It is very, very simple. It'll take you 30 seconds. It goes a long way for us. The rounds of the day. Harris English's 64, powered by 6 birdies, 2 eagles, and this is what we've seen Harris do at this event before. He's won this event, Greg, but he has dealt with a myriad of injuries the last couple of years that have kept him from playing his best golf.
Yes. Interesting. Was it his most recent win? Or did he win the Travelers after that?
Boy, the 8-hole playoff one?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was after. I think it was after.
After, because he got into the Tournament of Champions in 2021 because of the COVID year, right?
Right.
So
and won it.
So then he wins the Tournament of Champions. Now, his Travelers was not in 2020 because that was the crazy one that was like a major championship field. And it certainly in 2019 because that was too long ago. So I think it was 2021 he won that.
Right. Because you're right. Because he got into the Sentry, which was then Sentry Tournament of Champions, without winning. Because that was the first year they allowed players who made it to Eastlake in, and then he won it. So he has a good history here. And the reason for that, as we outlined on Monday, and as they outlined in depth on the broadcast today, putting is very important here. Putting becomes, it becomes a putting contest on a golf course like this, with the fairway so wide, the green so big. You got it, and the amount of birdies that you have to make, and that's the best part of Harris English's game, and it really shined today. So you see, he gains 4.7 strokes, leading the field on the greens alone just today, and really was about even on the greens heading into the day, and all of a sudden he's vaulted up into second for the week in strokes gained putting. So really good day that fits Harris English's DNA. Started on the back nine today, which was interesting, and quite frankly, missed a couple of really good looks on 7 and 8, which would have helped him, I think, get even a little bit closer.
The 64 moves him up 26 spots. He's in a tie for 6th. He is 3 shots off the lead with 18 to go. The second best round of the day, Xander Schauffele's 65, vaulting him up 17 spots into a tie for 3rd. And stop me if you've heard this before, Greg, because Xander Schauffele loves this place. He has played so well at the Plantation course. He had that weird, just kind of one-off injury that forced him to WD at this event last year. But outside of that, he's been splendid.
Absolutely splendid. I played him in one and done last year and was disappointed. I went back to the well this year.
Yes.
And had some debate about it because it left a sour taste in my mouth, but said that was a one-off last year. This guy belongs near the top of this leaderboard. He always finds himself there. And again, like Harris English, he's a great putter. And this is the cool thing, Rick. And for you and I and anybody else who played Xander and one and done this week, something that you're really optimistic about is, he hasn't had his best putting day yet. Today was the best of the week for him so far, but he can fill it up on the greens. But today he did it a lot with the ball striking. He gave himself a ton of opportunities and left a few out there. But when he got on the back nine in that really scoreable stretch with a lot of wedge opportunities, he took advantage and filled up the birdies right when he needed to.
I'm glad you brought up the one and done. 15% of the first cut one and done used Xander Schauffele. That's the second most popular golfer. That includes producer Josh. It includes you, Greg. It includes yours truly, in myself. And this is just so sweet. Apparently, it's who Mark wanted to pick, yet he did not enter the selection into runyourpoll.com, thus making it not a valid selection, which is only right after the one and done debacle at last year's Sentry that gave him $3.5 million right out of the gate.
Yeah, this is what we call payback. And
as Taylor would say,
sweet.
That is karma. And I'm loving it.
Oh yeah, Taylor's got a couple lines. Revenge, doesn't she have a revenge song?
Let's go. Every T Swift album.
Yeah,
this scenario right now.
Right. Look what you made me do. All right, that's enough on Taylor Swift. I'm fired up about Xander. I love what he's been doing so far this week, especially with the wedges. He's driving the ball great too, which not necessarily a huge deal, not the way to make a bunch of birdies, but I trust that Xander can go out there and put something else in the mid-60s tomorrow on the board.
Yeah, so those were the two best rounds. 64 from Harris English, 65 from Xander Schauffele, 366s, but two of them are from guys that we're going to talk about in the next section here. Let's talk about you got any interest on who you want to talk about?
Hey, you're going to 66s. And not the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, I was saving those guys for the next block. JT posted, I don't really need to talk about.
Yeah.
We can probably talk about Jordan Spieth on the other side.
Who is the other?
It was Poston, Kirk, and Akshay are the 366s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're obviously both interesting, given that they're in the final group tomorrow.
Yeah. So we'll save that for after the play. Yeah. How about this? I like this comment. How about Ludvig? Ludvig isn't dead last. Ludvig, 69, 70, 77. That was the worst single round of his career. I don't like any. What is the level of concern?
It's none.
Zero.
It's zero. It's zero. He struggled on the greens today. He struggled on the greens all week. I think Ludvig is a phenomenal player, but also very young still. And if you're not on your game in windy conditions like this, you could shoot a big number. We haven't seen Ludvig do this before. So I'm giving him a free pass here. But it's a bad round and very unexpected. I mean, he's the kind of guy, when I look at his game, I don't expect a very big differential in scores he shoots. The thing that makes the differential between high and low scores big is that he can shoot 61. Not that he shoots 77. But now in this young career, we've seen everything between, we've seen 77 and 61. That's a huge differential. So I think this is an aberration, and I give him a complete pass.
while we're doing the negative Nancy stuff, let's do Viktor Hovland, who made the turn in 4 under 32, which by my quick mental math moved him to 18 under par. So he made the turn at 18 under par, and the back nine played about 2 strokes under par. So if he plays it to the average, you're thinking Viktor Hovland's probably going to get in at 20, 21 under. He is going to be in the mix. He makes a bogey on 13. He makes a triple on 14, which includes a bladed bunker shot into the nastiness. Can't find his ball, has to take a drop. And it obviously stunted the round for Viktor, and barring some level of miracle has played himself out of this over a 2-hole stretch.
Yes. Now, doesn't take advantage of 10, 11, 12, hits a bad drive on 13. Again, this is the scoring zone where you see a lot of guys just run together 4 birdies in a row, 5. Even we saw Thigala on Thursday put 6 together in a row in this stretch. So this is the scoreable stretch of the golf course, and he hits a loose tee shot at 13, has to pitch out, makes a bogey. All right, well, let's give him a pass there. You go to 14, it's drivable. He drives it up into the greenside bunker and walks away with 7, and then doesn't convert on the par 5 15th, doesn't make birdie there. I mean, you lost 5 shots to the field on that stretch. That's extremely disappointing. And it does feel like it's really one shot, a bunker shot that's bladed over the green. But what comes into my head is this is the area that he cleaned up so well last year and has separated from his short game coach that helped him get there. And now you see this, and it probably an aberration, but makes you wonder.
Separated under the cloud of, I don't want to talk about it, and I'm not going to give you any details.
Right. So, look, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure we ever will, but it's very strange. And he, maybe the principles he learned. I mean, what we've seen so far this week is not disastrous. But if he gets a little off track, gets a little lost, who does he turn to that can apply these same principles?
It will be interesting to track because that was such a huge story last year, and now it gets kind of flipped 180, and we'll see if if Viktor goes out and has another great short game year, you probably won't hear any more about it. If you continue to skull balls out of greenside bunkers, it will come up more and more frequently.
Yes.
Let's continue this conversation with some more positive rounds on Saturday. We'll talk about the top of the leaderboard and the guys who have the best chance to win on Sunday. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
And we're back. The overnight leader, Scottie Scheffler, the guy who was plus 125 to win this golf tournament just 24 hours ago, shot a 71, which lost him about half a stroke to the field. And Greg, this was by far the worst round of the week for Scottie. He really struggled with the putter. He struggled around the greens, and he was in a group, we were talking about this before we went hot, that had zero momentum. Those guys were just sleepwalking through this round, and now Scottie drops to 18 under par. Actually, he doesn't drop to 18 under par. He gets past here. He's 3 shots off the lead.
You know, it's interesting to me. I'm wondering if there's something here, but last year there are a couple of Saturday rounds that stick out to me. I think it was his weakest round of statistically of the 4. The one that really jumps out to me is the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. I believe he shot 73 in that round, and kind of.
Yes, that was the rainy day, right?
Yep. And it just was a a sloppy round. And we saw that today. Now, the good news is he didn't miss any 2-footers today. But the bad news is he missed a 3-footer today at number 7. So again, that's the thing that I'm really watching for with Scottie, and especially when he doesn't have his best tee to green performance. Like he wasn't all that sharp today, tee to green. Now all of a sudden it puts a lot more pressure on the greens. And when you miss a 3-footer and you 3-putt on 18 the way he did today, I mean, right there you have 69. If you make a putt from 3 feet 3 inches at number 7 and you 2-putt on number 18, you shoot 69 and you're at 20 under. You're 1 off the lead. This is fine. No issue. It may still be no issue, but I mean, you just start to do some math. And Akshay goes out and shoots 4 under tomorrow. Now, I mean, you got to go shoot 7 under now, right? It just adds unnecessary pressure. Instead of going shot for shot with the guy, now you got to go beat him by 4 or more. And don't, I mean, that doesn't even bring up everybody that's between he and the lead. So it made winning tomorrow a lot harder on Scottie.
The 3 jacks on 18 obviously keeps him out of, he could have gotten into the final group. He could have gotten into the second to last group. 3 jacks and a par now, not going to make dinner taste so good. Astute observation. I looked it up, Greg. So round 1 scoring average last year, first for Scottie Scheffler. Round 2, second. Round 4, second. That pesky round 3, 36th.
Yeah, just terrible. I mean, it's pretty good, but they're just, there are a couple rounds on Saturdays that probably cost him a couple tournaments. And if that's improved, there's no way he ends last year with only 2 wins.
A bogey-free 67, which is 6 under par for Jordan Spieth, in which he gained over 2 strokes with the putter, a round that he was positive in all 4 strokes gained categories. For a Jordan Spieth round, it was pretty quiet. He did not make 2 birdies in a row. Obviously, as mentioned, there was not a bogey anywhere. He just kind of did his business, took care of most of the par 5s, and is now going to be 2 shots back at a golf course he's had a lot of success at.
I love where Jordan Spieth is tomorrow. I know we're going to look at the odds boards. I liked where Jordan was yesterday, and it's even better now. I think he's the guy. I think he's the guy for tomorrow. I mean, you look at what was, again, talked about so much on the broadcast today, how important it is to putt well here, and how often the winners lead in strokes gained putting, or our top 3 in strokes gained putting for the week. Jordan's at number 4. He's 4th right now on the week, and did a lot of his work today, even though he's gained strokes putting every day so far this week. But he also looks very much in control of his golf swing. It doesn't look like he's leaning a lot. It looks like the ball's coming off the face where he's expecting it to. And I think that's a really good sign heading into tomorrow. This is a complete game where, all the areas seem like they're capable of having a great day tomorrow. And especially on the greens, except maybe some 3-footers. He missed one again today.
Yeah.
But cleaning that up, I think Jordan has a great shot tomorrow.
I could be convinced that he's the guy. I'd like to see the number. I would be very terrified if he's standing over a 3.5 footer on 15 or something like that on Sunday with tied for the lead. But I guess we'll deal with that when it comes. The 2 at the top. Akshay Bhatia shot a 7 under 66. That was bogey free, highlighted by 3 consecutive birdies on 5, 6, and 7. The other thing that has been pointed out on the broadcast throughout is he is number 1 in the field in strokes gained putting. He is gaining 5.5 strokes to the field. What I love about this, Greg, is he took all the putting cheat codes and he added them up He put them together, and that is what he is using. So correct me if I've missed any. He's got the jailbird. That's a cheat code in itself. He's got the broomstick, the long putter. On that broomstick, he's got the split grip, and he's using the claw lower hand. He has gone like whatever anyone has ever told him to try, he has put it all into one package.
That's pretty good, Rick. You're right. Everything. Well, I mean, this worked for the claw, worked for Morikawa, the jailbird worked for Keegan Bradley, the long putter worked for Lucas Glover. I'll do all of them.
Yeah.
And it's worked. Yeah. So what you're saying is Akshay's cheating.
Basically, it looks that way. As Josh points out in the chat, he was 183rd out of 193 qualified putters last year. So now, after he said, I played with Lucas, I saw what he was doing. I played with Adam Scott, I kind of saw what he was doing, and this is much easier for him to, especially distance control, for him to get the ball started on the right line and with the right weight.
You know, there's one thing about Akshay that he's shown throughout his entire career, which I really admire him for. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He can handle that. I mean, when he went and turned professional and didn't go to college, he was, criticized for that pretty heavily. A lot of people thought that was a mistake, and he's very quickly proven to us all that it wasn't. But the ability to say, hey, I've had one full year on tour. I'm near the worst putter on the PGA Tour. Why not try it? Why not try it now? Why do I have to wait and become this bad putter when this is working? There's a clear blueprint that's working for all these guys who have struggled. So he does it, and he's getting immediate results. I give him so much credit for it. Rick, there's one other thing about Akshay that I think is worth bringing up. Mm-hmm. Would you consider this a tropical golf course?
Thank you, Greg. I absolutely would consider this a tropical golf course.
And he is a tropical golf killer.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I'm kicking myself. I'm looking at him here. I'm saying it's tropical. Let's get tropical. I feel like I'm watching semi-pro. Let's get tropical. Akshay Bhatia. How did I not mention him? How did I not put enough thought and attention into Akshay on Monday? It's autoplay for me from here on out. Tropical golf course. I'm playing Akshay.
So I was looking this up just an hour ago. So even before, so this does not include this week. So whatever this result is going to be will help this tropical golf situation. 5 of his 6 career best finishes have come in the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, or Mexico. And 9 of his top 15 finishes have come in those locations, plus Mayakoba, Bermuda, and Corrales.
Okay. There you go. And Corn Ferry Tour?
That's in
there, right?
Yep.
You mentioned Bahamas.
Yep.
So, makes total sense.
Loves a
and
good.
He could do it tomorrow.
Also worth noting, he's like 3 years younger than Ludvig is.
Yep, and he's been playing. He's got 2 professional wins now. One on Corn Ferry, one last year on the PGA Tour. It's a different kind of experience. There's he's seasoned, and he's going to end up being one of these. Who's a good Kevin Na's the first guy that comes to mind, where you look at their age, you're like, wait, what are you talking about? He's been out here forever. The guy's got to be 100. He's going to be one of those players. Sergio Garcia is another example. They've been out there so long because they turned pro so young, and you have an opportunity for an unbelievably long career.
January 31st, 2002, Akshay's birthday. So he's going to turn 21 here, or 22, in a couple weeks. The number 1 song in the U.S. that day, "You Got It Bad" by Usher. The memories.
Wow.
The man they are all chasing Chris Kirk, 67, 65, 66. Add it all up. That is 21 under par. It was a little bit of a slow start for Chris. He was 1 under through his first 4 holes. He remedied that by birdieing 5, 6, 7, 8. He then got another streak at 12, 13, and 14 before notching one more birdie on 18. And now Chris Kirk will hold the lead or co-lead for the 7th time on the PGA Tour in his career. He has converted on 3 of his 6 previous 54-hole leads.
That's a pretty good record.
Pretty good.
Well, it's good to have 7 54-hole leads too,
Yes.
or co-leads, right?
He's got like, I think I saw, I don't have it up anymore, but I think he has 2 more on the Korn Ferry Tour, and I think he closed out both of those.
Yeah. So he can do it. Doesn't mean he will. Certainly capable. We talked about him yesterday, Rick. I thought he hit the ball between he and Scottie and Morikawa yesterday. Those 3 guys hit the ball the best. And Chris Kirk today didn't hit the ball quite as well early. Now, that being said, those first 4 holes were the 4 most difficult holes on the golf course. So the slow start is understandable to a degree, but he really had to scramble around a little bit more and had to lean on the putter a little bit more. And when he needed to, it showed up. And he holed a lot of 8-foot putts for par and a couple for birdie there, and ended up having his best putting day so far of the week.
I find Chris Kirk very difficult to try to predict and try to handicap. So he won the Honda Classic in February, at the end of February. Since then, he only had 1 more top 10 the rest of 2023, and it was a T10 at the Texas Open. That was in April. So it wasn't a particularly great finish to the year, but this is starting to be kind of the time of the year where he shows up, right? If you like the body, what are they like, the body cycles, that January, February.
Yeah, he's a Q1 golfer.
Big Q1 guy. Yeah, RSM, big Q1 guy. That's Chris Kirk.
Yeah, seems to be. Now, he's played well at the Sony. Has he won the Sony?
I just had it up. He has finished second.
Yeah.
He finished second in 2014. He finished second in 2021. He finished third in 2023. He's got a 5th, a 10th. So he has not won it, but he's been close.
Yeah. So maybe likes a little bit of off time to get himself ready to go for the season, because he's looking ready right now. He looks sharp. The wedge game is great. What he's got going on the greens is looking great. Tomorrow is going to be a big time birdie fest. I don't think we're going to see winds quite as high tomorrow. And they'll be out of an opposite direction. I think he can handle it. I like what I saw on the greens out of him today. That was a real positive sign.
2 sickos have Chris Kirk in our one and done. 2 sickos have Akshay in our one and done. 111 on Xander, 7 on Jordan Spieth, 0 on Benny On, who is also in the mix as well. So there's a lot on the line. I'm interested to see what the betting odds are. I have intentionally not looked yet, because I know the bigger names are lurking. The guys at the top are not necessarily prolific winners. Let's just see it, Josh. Let's get it. Okay, there you go. Chris Kirk, no surprise, he's the favorite, but it's plus 360. Xander Schauffele, 5-1. Jordan Spieth, 6.5. Scottie Scheffler, 6.5. And Akshay, who is 1 shot off the lead, 9-1. You can get anybody else pretty significantly longer than that, but those are the big 5, Greg.
Wow. A little surprising, but I get it. I totally get it. Scottie is the favorite if he's at 20 under.
Oh, Scottie's, right. Yeah, for sure.
And he should be. So I'm all for Chris Kirk being the favorite, but Akshay is underrated.
I'm like very tempted to fire on Akshay. I think Kevin Kisner, I think has been great, by the way. He gets it, man. He's like, a lot of times you regress back to the mean on these putting days, especially when that pressure is really ratcheted up on a Sunday at the Sentry in a signature event. That is a very tough thing to think he's going to continue to putt as well as he is.
But at the same time, when guys go to something new,
yeah, I know
this thing happens, Rick. It's like a toddler with a blankie. They think that it's a superpower. They think it's going to protect them from bad guys. It makes you feel better.
And like everything else I love. Like I love his attitude. He's got all the firepower in the world. He might shoot a 62 or an 82, which I don't care about. Like I love everything else. I'm just similar to Jordan Spieth. I'm worried about that stroke holding up under immense pressure late in the round.
Yeah. I get it. I think he's in a really good positive place with it. So I like Akshay. And I didn't think Akshay is the guy. I see this board and I'm like, the disrespect.
I know.
You know, I just feel like that's a disrespectful number and it's worth putting a sprinkle on. Jordan Spieth, like I said earlier, I think is my guy here. And I'm rooting for Xander for one and done stuff. I don't think it's a great number on Xander.
No. So personally, I have a pre-tournament Scottie at actually a worse number than this, which I guess I could have just waited till Saturday night and gotten a better number on Scottie if I wanted it. Spieth and Scottie having the same odds, but Spieth being one shot clear is indicative of what kind of Vegas thinks of Scottie versus Spieth here.
Right.
I also think it is Spieth is the wager. Played much better on Saturday. Even at his worst, he can kind of get freaky out here. I don't think he's played his best golf yet. And he's like, when Jordan Spieth's out of it, he's going to continue to be out of it. When he's in it, he's going to continue to be in it. Which is, he's got that nose for the end zone. He's got whatever you want to call it. He's got that juice that flows through him on Sundays. So I think the bet on Saturday night is Spieth.
I think so too. And I'm going to throw Akshay in there because the number's disrespectful.
No, I agree. I agree that if you are one shot off the lead, and the leader is Chris Kirk, no offense, Chris Kirk, and the guys that are chasing you, the biggest names are, a couple shots back, and you just won. I mean, he won like 9 starts ago. I know that it was an opposite field event. I understand that, but I agree that number is very disrespectful.
So Akshay, I'll put Xander, Spieth, and Benny on are in this mix too. Where those guys, the guys that are in the top 5 right now they can beat Chris Kirk even if Chris Kirk plays great. Right. When you start going down below that into the Jason Days and the Scottie Schefflers, a really good round from Chris Kirk can just kind of mathematically eliminate you at some point. But I'm not sure that's the case. The guys in the top 5 are closer to going kind of shot for shot, which is a good place to be. So I think that 3-putt for Scottie was huge on 18. But anyway, that's a different story. So I like Jordan and I like Akshay in that mix based on these numbers.
Quick update from the Tuesday mega preview pod. I have Eric Cole over Cam Davis. I cannot imagine that is remotely close. Eric Cole is 14 under. Cam Davis is 3 under. I think I'm good there. We have Brendan Todd top 20. We have Patrick Cantlay top 10. We have Xander top 10. All of those very live. Tony Finau over Cam Young for Patrick, which I saw Cam Young was not in a particularly great spot. Say 13 under for Finau. Young is 10 under. And then our best bets. Fitzpatrick top GB and I think that is, I got a good round from Hatton today. Okay, I did. So I think that's leading. Colin to finish inside the top 10 for Kyle. That's live. And Patrick's positively. Wow, we might get off to a pretty darn good start here in January.
It's tight. They're all very live.
They're all very live.
Boy, Brendan Todd was looking like a lock there yesterday.
Yep.
And it's tight. It's still one shot.
That Friday night gravity.
You didn't do the victory lap. Thank God.
Immelman gravity.
He's still going to do it. He's going to play great tomorrow.
Oh boy. All right. We'll be back Sunday night as the final putt drops, or just shortly after, to break down the winner of the Sentry, and look forward to the Sony Open as well. Big thanks to producer Josh. He does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme is available online at The Real GFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.